So good morning, everyone. I am Victor from the Local Government Unit of Odiongan, Internal Audit Services Unit. Before we officially start our webinar, we will begin with an opening prayer. Afterward, we will honor our country by singing of the Philippine National Anthem, followed by the singing of Odiongan hymn. Let us now proceed to the opening prayer to pause and seek guidance to the Lord.
Let's put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. We are truly grateful for them. Thank you for allowing us today to meet and share our knowledge and time with one another in this seminar. May you extend your divine wisdom to our speaker so that he would be able to impart effectively his God-given knowledge to all of us. May he be blessed as he continues to bring his expertise to people who need them. Bless the participants as well, so that they would be able to glean the vital information from this activity. May you bestow your blessings after the seminar, so that we may go out and spread what we learned in the spirit of your love and generosity. May we realize that this activity should glorify your name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, telos ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bangaw, ay hinatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng katawan mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at parang niya kailan pamay di magtitingin. Lupa ng araw ng warhagin pagsingkaw, mo'y langit sa pingin mo. Ang bigaya ng pagkay magamin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Sa balas ng silangan, sa puso ng kabuluhan, sa angking mong kagandahan, duyan ka ng kapayapaan. Bantayog ng kagitingan, sipat ay karunungan, laging mahal ka, di ba gagapi kanino man. Sandigan ko'y lakas mo, upang di sumuko, kagandahan ng kalikasan mo, isisigaw ko sa buong mundo. O Diyongan, pinakamamahal kong bayan. O Diyongan, daglahi mo'y liwanag. O Diyongan, hatid mo'y ligaya sa tabing dagat. Iway mo'y masisilayan. Sa hirap ng panahon, sa pagsubok babangon, hinding-hinding susuko, mananatiling nakatayo. Nakaukit mong kasaysayan, simbolo ng kagitingan o kay sarap sambitin bawat tula at awit ng pag-ibig. Sandigan ko'y lakas mo upang di sumuko, kagandahan ng kalikasan mo isisigaw ko sa buong mundo. Ocho manonok kay tatat, taglay mo'y sinag ng pag-asa. Sa sipag mo't tiyaga, larawan kang hindi kukupas. Sanda ko man hindi iiwan, mananatiling tapat sa bayan. Magbuhay ka, taas noo, isigaw udyong naroon ka. Odyongan, pinakamamahal kong bayan. Odyongan, taglay mo'y liwanag. Odyongan, hatid mo'y ligaya. Sa tabing dagat, bukang liwayway mo'y masisilayan. Mabuhay ka, Odyongan.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Data Privacy Act Compliance and Best Practices. The webinar on Data Privacy Act Compliance and Best Practices aims to deepen participants' understanding of Data Privacy Act laws and their application in public service. This session will underscore the importance of adhering to the Data Privacy Act to safeguard the confidentiality, integrity, and security of personal information managed by LGUs. Proper compliance is key to preventing data breaches, fostering public trust, and demonstrating the LGU's commitment to transparency and accountability. The webinar will offer practical guidance on best practices for handling sensitive data and implementing strong data protection measures, empowering participants to meet legal standards and promote secure, ethical data management within their offices. So to officially open our webinar, I am honored to introduce our proactive internal auditor from the local government unit of Odiongan, Mr. Ivan John Ferriol, to deliver the welcome remarks.
Hello, good morning sa ating lahat. So, masyadong natin na ang daming activities, pero ganun din si National Privacy Commission. Kahapon, nag-post sila about yung mga training workshop sila about data privacy, kung saan nakita ko mayroong 5 requirements. Sabi dito is walkthrough on Data Privacy Act of 2012, effective privacy management program, conducting privacy impact assessment, breach management program, and ayun, yung 4 lang pala. So, since nagawa yung batas or na-enact ng 2012, parang nakikita natin or sa trend ngayon, masyadong mataas na yung level of hinihingi na compliance ng National Privacy Commission. Kasi kami ngayon sa LGU, hinihingan na kami ng ng dapat yung DPO namin is dapat department head, no? SG24. Kaya kakatraining lang nila noong last month, I think. Kasi ay nirecord na rin kami sa LGUs na dapat is, dapat ay may seal na kami, mayroong nakapag-training yung DPO, etc. Kasi nakita din po namin sa trend sa LGU is that pataas yung compliance, pataas din yung risk. Lalo na at kami, papunta na doon sa mag-launch na kami ng e-LGU na kung saan yung mga transactions, online transactions, business, kahit birth certificate, registration sa civil registrar, kahit payment po sa treasury, is gagawin online na rin. So, syempre, yung need natin i-comply yung mga data privacy requirements. So, kaya isa sa mechanism namin is to conduct ganitong klaseng training. Supposedly, this is for internal auditors lang. And then, but ginagawa kasi namin, part ng aming mechanism is to share the knowledge that kung ano yung nakuha namin. So, syempre, free naman yung platform, yung Google Meet, no? Minamaximize namin yun. Tapos, na-request din ni Engineer Moscoso na yun nga sa colleagues ng RSU. So, karamihan dito sa atin ngayon sa Google Meet platform is taga-RSU. So, welcome po sa inyong lahat sa ating gagawing webinar. Sana po ay marami tayong matutunan. So, ganun din po sa atin sa lahat dito ngayon sa LGU Jokan. Sana po ay madami tayong matutunan. At the same time po, ma-refresh po yung knowledge natin about data privacy. So, thank you and good morning.
Thank you so much, Sir Ivan. So before we proceed to our introduction of the resource speaker, okay naman po ba ang audio nating nung audio po namin tsaka yung presentation po? Okay naman po. Thank you so much. So now, it is now my distinct privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session. Okay. Our speaker is a highly accomplished professional in the field of electronics and data management. He is graduate of Bachelor of Science in Electronics Engineering from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila, and has further expanded his academic pursuits by completing the International Summer Campus Program at Korea University, focusing on big data analytics. A dedicated scholar, he was a recipient of the DOST Scholarship and is an active member of the Institute of Electronics Engineers of the Philippines. His extensive professional backgrounds includes roles such as equipment engineer at Western Digital Philippines and project development officer under the FW4A program of the DICT Romblon. He holds multiple credentials, being a licensed electronics engineer and electronics technician since 2019, as well as a certified data protection officer as of April 29, 2024, accredited by the Global Knowledge Philippines. Currently, he serves as the MIS Director and Data Protection Officer at the DP Office of Romblon State University. It is my honor to present to you Engineer Samson F. Moscoso Jr. Hi sir, welcome po.
Hello po. Good morning, Sir Victor. Good morning po, Sir Ivan. Nice meeting you ulit po. Ayan, so dati po kasi nag-webinar na rin po ako. So, first of all, am I audible po ba?
Okay naman po sir.
Okay po, sige po. Ayan, welcome po sa mga participants natin, no? Especially from the LGU Ojoman po, which is sila po yung nag-start po nitong event na to. And then, welcome din po sa mga taga-RSU po nandito. So, I hope po na madami kayong tutunan in this webinar. Sige po, let me share my screen lang po. Okay. Once again, I'm Engineer Samson F. Moscoso po. And we will be tackling about empowering trust, a deep dive into the Data Privacy Act, compliance, and best practices. Before we start po, kindly scan po the QR code or go to the website www.menti.com and enter the code 82165275. So may evaluation lang muna po tayo kung ano nga ba yung alam natin about data privacy. Okay. Sige po, sa mga pwede pong mag-join, punta na lang po kayo dito. Pwede pong scan yung QR or punta sa menti.com and then input na code na lang po. 14253185. Okay po, meron na po tayong 9 na nasa loob. Let's give around 1 minute po para makapasok po ang iba. So baka po yung iba is hindi makapasok po. Sige po, pwede na po natin i-move. Sige po, meron na po tayong 13. Okay po, yung hindi po makaka-join, pwede naman po mag-comment na lang sa ating chat box na nasa Google Meet. Okay, sige po, start na po natin. Ayan, so una pong tanong natin is how familiar are you with RA 10173 or the Data Privacy Act of 2012? At sa mga cellphones niyo po kayo tumingin or sa mga desktop niyo po. And then, pili lang po kayo ng choices niyo. Okay, so very familiar po ba tayo which we can define major components and exercises in our workplaces? Somewhat familiar. Ayan. Not very familiar, yung narinig mo lang, or not familiar at all. Okay, sige po, click po natin yung mga choices yan kung saan po tayo. Okay, so, ayan. Okay, so most of our participants are somewhat familiar dahil the Data Privacy Act or the RA 10173, which is good kasi nga po, isa to sa mga importanteng batas natin with regards to data privacy or the importance of personal data. Okay, sige po. Next. For the pre-assessment exam, no? Exam muna po tayo. 1 to 10 lang naman po. Mabilis lang po. Okay, meron tayo 26 participants. Okay, 26 players ready na po. Okay, 27. Baka may gusto po tumagdag. Okay, ready na po? Sige. Okay, question number 1. What is the primary purpose of the Data Privacy Act of 2012? A, to regulate the use of technology, to protect personal information, to promote economic growth, or to improve data sharing among institutions. 1. Okay, so tama po ang 15 questions na. Okay, next po. Question number 2. Which of the following is considered personal data? Look at your device. Letter A, a person's name. B, company financial report. C, public tweet. D, none of the above. Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. And time's up. Right. So the answer is letter A. Okay, next question po. Under the Data Privacy Act, who is the responsible for ensuring compliance within an organization? Letter A, B, C, or D? Ako tayong 8 seconds para sa pag-upa. Is it the Data Protection Officer or the President? Okay. Correct answer is letter A, the data protection officer. Next po natin, question number 4. Data privacy impact assessment or the DPIA. Is it A, tool for analyzing financial data, a process for identifying and reporting privacy risks, C, legal requirement for all organizations, or D, a set of employee purpose? Okay, the answer is letter B, process for identifying and minimizing privacy risks. Question 5, what of the following actions is not a principle of data privacy? A, transparency, B, accountability, C, data minimization, or D, data ownership. Not a principle of data. Okay, the answer is letter B, data ownership. Okay, mag-check agad mamaya yan kung bakit. Okay, data please leaderboard natin. Number 1 natin yan is to Sir. Yeah, so Sebastian, Sir. Okay, so Sir Sebastian. Okay, so number 6. What should an organization do in the event of a data breach? Okay, letter A, ignore it. Data is encrypted. Limit to notify affected individuals. Letter C, wait for a month to assess the situation. Or letter D, for the IT department. Answer is letter D. Needed to notify affected individuals, relevant authorities. Number 7, which of the following best describes consent under the DPP? A, B, C, or letter D? Right, 3, 2, 1. Answer is letter A. It must be explicit, informed, and freely given. Okay, question number 8. What is the role of the DPO, the Data Protection Officer? A, B, C, or D? Okay, 5 seconds to answer. The answer is letter D. So tama lang. Number 9 question. Which of the following is a subsequence of non-compliance with the DPA? Or a consequence, or the following is the consequence of non-compliance with the DPA. A, B, C, or D? Answer is letter legal penalties and fines. Last question po tayo. Question number 10. How often should organizations conduct privacy training for employees? A, once a year. B, only during onboarding. C, whenever there is a data breach. D, regularly based on organizational needs. Okay, the answer is letter D, regularly dapat. Okay, quiz leaderboard natin. The number 1 is Sebastian. Sir Sebastian, palakpakan po natin si Sir. Okay, follow kay Dr. Scientific. Okay, so salamat po sa nag-participate. So, tuloy pa rin po tayo sa Menti, no? So, una natin tanong ngayon bago tayo mag-start. So, what is privacy? Sige po. Scan lang po natin yung code and then type po tayo. In one word, ano po ba sa tingin nyo ang privacy? Yan, okay? So meron tayong 3 responses. Okay, confidential, security, confidentiality, protection. Yan. Okay. So ano pa? Ano pa ang pwede nating words na ibigay sa privacy? Personal. Private. Okay. So dito meaning pag mas malaki is mas madaming sumagot sa kanya, no? So meron tayong 15 responses na halos pare-pareho din ang sinabi. Okay, so personal, private, secret, secrecy, confidential, and transparency. Okay, so almost lahat naman po to. Yan, halos lahat. Lahat is tama naman po based on the definition of privacy. So thank you po sa nag-participate sa Mentimeter. And start po tayo sa ating. Okay, so sabi niyo nga kanina, privacy, no? What is privacy? So, privacy is a broader concept of a person's right to maintain control over personal space. Kasi pag sinabi natin privacy, kailangan is private. Nagmula siya sa root word na private, say privacy, no? Meron tayong secure space in personal space, communication, and body. Free from intrusion or unauthorized surveillance. It is also the freedom from unwarranted interference. Okay, so I hope na sumapat yung time natin, no? Kasi parang siguro parang pang isang araw yung nag-prepare ka ng PDFs. Pero kapag masyado pong mabilis, sabihin na lang po sa akin. Or try po natin isiksik within 2 hours of our webinar. Okay, so privacy is the overall right to control one's personal life, while data privacy, same lang naman, pero sa different platform. Data privacy focuses on how personal information is handled in the digital world. Also, the physical world. So, mas detailed ang gagawin natin. Data privacy. Okay, so brief history muna po tayo ng ating data protection laws. Did you ever heard na may term na the right to data privacy or the right to privacy? Sino po nakarinig sa inyo niyan? Familiar po ba ang iba sa atin dyan? Right to privacy. So starting from 1890, no, si Mr. Samuel Warren and Louis Brandeis started that term, which is later known as the right to be left alone. In 1948, privacy is regarded as a fundamental human right. So the emergence of national laws in 1973 and 74, early 70s, where Sweden became the first country to enact comprehensive data protection law or the Data Act na tinatawag natin. Just a year after, the US also passed the Privacy Act, which served as the guidelines for federal agencies to follow in processing personal data. Okay, so as the digital age began, the General Data Protection Regulation or the GDPR was released. This introduced stricter rules and penalties for non-compliance in the European countries. GDPR, until now, is still the best data privacy standards in the world, which is siya pa rin yung ginagamit na reference ng mga data privacy law sa iba-ibang bansa. Hindi lang sa Pilipinas, kundi sa buong mundo. Okay, in the Philippines, privacy was enshrined as a fundamental right during the 1987 Constitution. It was just in 2012, which is nilabas yung more comprehensive definition and standard, which is yung Data Privacy Act. This also established the creation of the NPC or tinatawag natin na data or na National Privacy Commission, serving as the regulatory body responsible for enforcing this law. 4 years upon in its enactment, diyan naman ginawa yung noong 2016 diyan ginawa yung IRR or yung implementing rules and regulations or the IRR nga, which is a detailed guideline to clarify the provisions of RA 10173. Okay, so sino po ba nakakilala kay Edward Snowden? Sa mga nakapanood niyo na dyan ng movie na Snowden. Ayan. So, isa si Edward, isang isang privacy fighter, privacy freedom fighter itong si Edward Snowden, no? Which is isa siyang intelligence community dati, kumbaga contractor siya sa National Security Agency ng US, and now na-realize niya na sobrang dami palang ginagawa ng NSA, no? Hindi lang nakukuha yung mga data ng mga kalaban, kundi pati foreign governments, fellow Americans, and fellow people na kung saan man merong internet. So, ang ginawa ni Snowden is nilik niya yung information, which is nagkosa kanya bilang para maging kalaban ng US or maging traitor. Ngayon is naka-house siya ngayon sa Russia, which is sila yung nagbigay ng protection dito kay Snowden. So sabi nga niya is arguing that you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying that you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. Okay, so Data Privacy Act of 2012 or yung tinatawag na RA 10173. So meron tayong limang major parts ng DPA, no. Una is yung section 1 to 6, which is yung definition and general provisions. 7 to 10, which is yan yung paggawa ng NPC. 11 to 21, dyan nakalagay yung rights of data subjects and obligations of PIC and PIP, or yung personal information controller and personal information processor. So ano nga ba yung mga yon? Tatalakayin natin after nito. Sa 22 and 24, nandyan yung provisions specific to government and penalties naman na nasa 25 to section 37. Okay, so RA 10173 is an act protecting personal information, no? So, itong RA 10173 talaga is ginawa para proteksyonan ang personal information ng isang individual. Hindi lang sa government sector, pati sa private sector. Dahil din dito sa batas na to, nagawa nga yung NPC or National Privacy Commission. Okay, so unang declaration of policy ng batas natin or ng batas ng RA 10173 is yung protect to fundamental human right of privacy of communication while ensuring the flow of information to promote innovation, growth, and national development. So basically, right of privacy siya, hindi lang sa personal, kundi sa lahat ng kinds of communication, especially sa mga communications na may kinabibilangan ang personal information. Recognizes the vital role of information and communications technology in nation building and enforce inherent obligation to ensure that personal information in ICS or information communication systems in the government and in the private sector are secured and protected. Kaya nga ngayon is nire-require na lahat ng agencies, no, hindi lang sa private, hindi lang sa public kundi sa private na magpasa na ng kanilang application for DPA sign or NPC logo, no? Kasi hindi nga ma-validate kung lumalabag ba or hindi yung kung sumusunod ba sa batas ang isang specific agency or isang specific public sector or private sector. Okay, ano nga ba ang mga scope ng DPA, no? Yan, so meron tayong tinatawag na processing of personal data. Lahat ng pagpaprocess ng personal data, yan ang sakop ni DPA. So kabilang dyan sa pagpaprocess ng personal data ang mga data subjects. Okay? So, it includes the personal information controllers who are not based or established in the Philippines also. Okay, first is the data subjects, an individual whose personal, sensitive personal, or privileged information is processed. Example niyan is yung mga karaniwang tao na nagpapaprocess ng kanilang information sa atin. Yan, as the processors. So, learners, personnel, the stakeholders of a agency. So, pangalawa is yung NPC. Okay, so NPC na lang muna tayo. So, second is the National Privacy Commission, which is established during the Data Privacy Act of 2012. And the third is yung PIC or yung PIP, no? Na PIC meaning Personal Information Controller, who controls the processing of personal data or instructs another to process personal data on its behalf. Okay, so meron din tayong exclusions na tinatawag. Kumbaga, hindi siya kasama sa Data Privacy Act. Una na dyan is yung information pertaining to any individual who is an officer or was an officer of a government institution. Okay, so ano nga ba yung mga kabilang dyan sa mga details ng isang employee na yan, no? Okay, so individual's title, business address, and office telephone number. Okay? Kasama na din dyan yung job classification, salary range, and associated responsibilities. So halimbawa, tanungin mo ang isang government personnel, halimbawa, anong position mo sa government? So pag sinabi niya, okay lang naman na na hindi niya sabihin, pero pag sinabi niya, malalaman mo rin naman kasi nga hindi siya kasama sa mga dapat proteksyonan ng Data Privacy Act since government employee ang individual na pinagtanungan. Ayan, so kasama na dyan yung mga sahod, kung ano yung responsibilities niya, and so on. And then kasama din dyan yung name of the individual appearing on a document created by that individual as part of their duties during government employment. Okay, pangalawa natin is yung information regarding individuals who is currently or was previously providing services under a contract. So mga job order po ng ating employees of the government. Kasama na dyan yung performance nila and yung individual information nila na binigay sa government agency na yun kung saan sila nag-work. Okay, letter C or number 3, informations pertaining to any discretionary financial benefits such as, kasama yung mga license or permit granted by the government to an individual, mga driver's license, ganyan, PRC license, and so on. Okay? Next is yung personal information for journalistic, artistic, and literary or research purposes. Para saan nga ba to? So it is in order to uphold the freedom of speech, of expression, and of the press, subject to requirements of other applicable laws and regulations. Next natin is yung information necessary in order to carry out the functions of public authority in accordance with a constitutionally or statutorily mandated functions pertaining to law enforcement or regulatory functions. Kabilang dito yung performance of the functions of the independent central monetary authority and subject restrictions provided by law. Okay, next natin is yung information necessary for banks and other financial institutions. And residents of foreign jurisdictions in compliance with the laws of those jurisdictions including applicable data privacy regulations that is being processed within the Philippines. So personal information that is originally collected from residents of foreign jurisdictions is in accordance with the laws of those foreign jurisdictions, including any applicable data privacy laws, which is being processed in the Philippines. So ang masusunod pa rin is yung laws na kung saang bansa siya nanggaling. Okay, the burden of proving the law of the foreign jurisdiction falls on the person or body seeking exemptions. Okay. In the absence of proof, the applicable laws shall be presumed to the act and these rules. Okay, so meaning nun is kapag walang Data Privacy Act sa lugar na pinagmulan niya is dito siya ngayon nasa subject sa Data Privacy Act ng Pilipinas since tayo yung nag-process ng personal information. Okay, so key definitions muna po tayo, no? Una sa ating definition is yung data subject. This refers to an individual whose personal data or personal information is processed. So sino-sino nga ba to? Ito yung mga constituents natin na kung saan pinaprocess natin yung personal data. Like yung mga citizens ng isang municipality or mga students. Yan. So considered sila as data subjects. Next is the consent of the data subject. So this refers to any freely given specific, informed indication of will whereby the data subject agrees to the collection and processing of personal information about or relating to him. Yan. Consent shall be evidenced by written, electronic, or recorded means. So, every time na nagpa-process tayo ng personal data, kailangan na meron nilang consent, no? Kahit maliit man lang yun ng data or simple personal data lang. So, required pa rin tayo na magbigay ng consent. So, meron tayong tinatawag na electronic or recorded means. And pwedeng ganyan yung mga format ng consent natin. Okay, it may be also given on behalf of the data subject by an agent specifically authorized by the data subject to do so. Okay, data processing systems. Kanina na banggit ni Sir na meron na silang mga systems ngayon na ginagamit, no? Yung halimbawa yung ELGU, tapos yung mga business license processing, no? Meron kasi dong mga automated systems na kung saan ang process ng personal data, no? So dapat may alam din tayo kung ano nga ba yung rights ng mga data subject na kung saan pinaprocess natin yung personal data. So it refers to the structure and procedure by which personal data is collected and further processed in information and communication system. Pwede itong maging digital, halimbawa yung mga applications or mga automated systems na kung saan nagpa-process ng personal data. Halimbawa, mga fini-fill upan online, ganyan. So, pwede rin itong maging manual data. Kasi meron din tayo ng manual eh. Halimbawa, magko-collect ka ng data, ng mga information, ng mga bibigyan ng mga tulong, ganyan. So, considered din siya as data processing systems. Pero, manual siya or physical. So, kailangan nyo po itong malaman kung ano yung mga data processing systems nyo sa isang agency or sa isang department kapag mag-register kayo sa National Privacy Commission. So, mapa-manual man yan or mapa-technical or mapa-digital, kailangan nyo po siyang ipa-register sa National Privacy Commission. Okay, next is yung data sharing. So, ano nga bang data sharing? It is the disclosure of personal data under the custody of the PIC. Meaning, halimbawa, si LGU Ojongan, gusto niyang mag-share sa isang agency ng government, halimbawa sa department, sa COA, gano'n. So, kapag merong personal information na kabilang dun sa data na i-share niya, kailangan niyang, ang tawag doon is data sharing. Okay, so mamaya, i-discuss natin kung ano nga ba yung kailangan sa isang data sharing. Okay. So, in case of a personal information processor, data sharing should only be allowed. Yan, if it is carried out on behalf of and upon the instruction of the personal information control. Okay, so dapat ang nag-decide lang kapag mag-share ng data is ang head ng isang institution. So, if hindi ka head, halimbawa nagpa-process ka lang, isang department ka lang sa isang isang agency nyo, and then pumayag ka or nagbigay ka ng data sa ibang agency, hindi pwede yon. So, ang mananagot pa rin dyan is yung head ng isang institution. Okay, otherwise, the sharing, transfer, or disclosure of personal data between PIC and the EIP should be excluded. Okay, next is yung personal data. Yan. Personal data refers to all types of personal information and sensitive personal information. Okay, so next is yung personal information controller. Yan. So it refers to a person kapag halimbawa is business lang. Kumbaga maliit lang ang pinangahawakan mo na isang business ganyan or isang company ganyan. Or organization who controls the collection, holding, processing, or use of personal information. Okay? This term excludes, number one, a person or organization who performs such functions as instructed by another person or organization. Kapag ganito yung ginagawa niya sa number one, considered siya as PIP or Personal Information Processor. Kasi siya yung nagpa-perform, hindi siya yung nagko-control. Okay? Itong mga PIC natin, halimbawa, ang mako-consider natin ng mga PIC halimbawa is si LGU Jongan, yan. Considered siya as isang PIC. Si RSU, PIC din siya. PIC din ang tawag sa kanya. Okay, pangalawa nating exclusion is yung an individual who collects, holds, processes, or uses personal information. Okay? So, processor pa din yan, yung number 2 natin, na exclusion natin. Okay, next natin is yung personal information processor. So, sino nga ba itong mga personal information processor? So, it is any natural or juridical person qualified to act as such under this act to whom a personal information controller may outsource the processing of personal data pertaining to a data subject. So, tayo yun, as the employees of our respective agencies, tayo yung mga personal information processor na nagpa-process ng personal data on behalf of our agencies, no? Of our PICs. Okay, gets na po natin, PIC and PIP, no? Yan, so, yun lang naman yung pagkakaiba nila. Personal information. So, ano nga ba ang personal information? This is the information that can be used to identify an individual, either directly or indirectly. So, ang mga example niyan ay ito. Okay? So, here are the examples of the personal information. Almost all na rin to na personal information. Kasi meron pa tayong tinatawag na sensitive personal information. So, sa personal information, ito yung mga generally na nakikita natin, no, sa isang information. Sa isang PI or personal information. Name, address, place of work, telephone number, gender, location, IP address, and so on. So, pag pinagsama-sama mo yan, ibig sabihin, makakapag-identify ka ng isang individual, directly or indirectly. So, kaya tinawag siyang personal information. Okay, next is yung sensitive personal information. This refers to personal information about, yan. Ito yung mga mas sensitive na mga bagay about sa isang individual. Kumbaga, hindi mo siya makikita kung san-san lang. Okay, kasama na dyan, unless kunin mo yung birth certificate ng isang tao, no? So, kasama na dyan ang individual, race, ethnic origin, marital status, age, color, religious, philosophical, or political affiliations. Okay? So, about an individual's health, yan, education, genetic or sexual life of a person, and so on. Kaya dito sa amin sa RSU, ang pag-process po ng personal data, especially yan sa mga forms na merong na humihingi ng sensitive personal information, required po talaga na merong consent form na tinatawag. Para in case na kailanganin is may maibibigay po ang ating mga PIPs na, uy, nakuha ko yung consent nito. Kaya okay lang na i-process ko yung personal information niya. Pero meron pa din yung mga rules syempre na hindi mo pwede gamitin yung personal information sa on personal benefits, no? So, ano pa rin siya, kept secret pa din siya or protected pa rin dapat ang personal information. Number 3, mga issued agencies peculiar to an individual which includes SSS numbers, GSIS numbers, health records, mga lisensya. Kasama na din yung mga denial, suspension or revocation ng mga lisensya ngayon, and tax returns. Number 4, yan, specifically established by an executive order of an act of Congress to be kept classified. Okay, so mga classified na files to mga to. Pangatlo natin na personal information na tinatawag is yung privileged. So ano nga ba yung privilege, no? Because the information that is protected from disclosure by law due to its confidential nature. So ano nga ba yun? Yan. So kasama na dyan yung husband and wife, attorney and client, priest and penitent, and doctor and patients. So pag may lumabas na information dyan sa mga nakalagay dyan, and then halimbawa hindi alam nung kabilang party, so pwedeng makulong kung sino yung naglabas nung kasi nga privileged information yan. So meron karapatang kaparusahan pag-disclose ng mga information na yan, which is nakalagay mamaya sa mga penalties na di-discuss natin. So sana umabot, yan. Okay, hanggang 10:45 pa naman tayo. So, dito tayo ngayon sa responsibilities of the PICs or the PIPs. Personal Information Controller / Personal Information Processor. So, meron tayong tatlong responsibilities dyan. No? Ang unang tinatawag natin na General Data Privacy Principles. I-uphold dapat natin yan. Pangalawa is i-uphold din natin yung rights ng data subjects natin. And pangatlo is yung security measures kung paano natin poprotektahan ang mga personal information na nakuha natin sa mga data subjects. Okay, unang muna tayo, General Data Privacy Principles. Unang principle ng General Data Privacy is yung tinatawag na transparency. Okay, transparency in data privacy refers to the practice of clearly and openly communicating with individuals about how their personal data is being collected, used, shared, and protected. Yan. So, hindi lang tayo yung dapat na, uy, kailangan ko yung mga personal information mo, fill upan mo to. Pero hindi natin i-inform yung individual na kung para saan ba gagamitin, kung gaano katagal natin gagamitin, and kung paano ba yung security na gagawin natin. Okay? So, kaya meron tayong tinatawag na mga na mga consent. Yan. Minsan nakalagay dyan yung transparency. Usually nakalagay dyan ang transparency. Meron tayong tinatawag na mga privacy notices, which is nakalagay din doon kung paano natin ipaprocess ang personal data ng isang individual. Okay? Okay, so yun yung transparency. So any information and communications relating to the processing of personal data should be easy to access and understand. So mamaya gagawa tayo ng privacy notice or consent na sobrang hirap palang intindihin, no? Na halimbawa, hindi pala marunong mag-English yung isang individual, and then English lang ang translation ng consent natin. So required din na magkaroon tayo ng Tagalog na translation ng isang consent. Mas maganda kung meron kayong Bisaya na translation ng isang consent or privacy notice, no, para mas maintindihan ng kung sino man yung pagkukunan natin ng personal data. Pero yun nga, isa sa mga requirement is meron kayong translated version ng consent. Okay? Consent form. Pangalawa natin is yung legitimate purpose. So ano nga bang legitimate purpose? It refers to the lawful and necessary reasons for which personal data is processed according to the Act. The processing of personal data must adhere to a specific criteria to ensure that it is done in a manner that it respects the privacy rights of the individual. Yan. So, almost lahat naman siguro ng pinapagpaprocess ng isang government is legitimate, no? Para sa, halimbawa, para mabigyan natin ng benefits yung mga constituents natin. Yan. So, declare dapat and specified purpose. So, kailangan din, parang sakot na rin tong legitimate purpose nung una. Kasi nga, i-inform natin sila kung para saan nga ba yung purpose ng pag-process natin ng personal data. Okay, next is yung proportionality. Yan, proportionality, ito naman yung nagre-refer sa principles that the collection, processing, and storage of personal data must be appropriate, necessary, and not excessive. Okay? So, nakalagay dyan is adequate, relevant, suitable, necessary, and not excessive. Meron kasi tayong mga kinukuha ng mga information sa data subjects natin na kung saan sobra. Halimbawa, kukuha tayo ng address ng mga magulang nila, which is hindi naman kailangan sa pag-process or sa purpose ng personal sa pag-process ng personal data na yon. So, yun. So, pwede siyang maging ground sa paglabag ng proportionality or sa paglabag ng General Data Privacy Principle kung sobrang dami or sobrang excessive na information yung kinukuha natin. Hindi ko alam kung naalala nyo yung image na kumalat sa Facebook na pag mangungutang ka, kailangan mo nung, parang joke lang siya. Kailangan mo ng SSS, GSIS, Pag-ibig, NBI clearance, and so on. Yan. So, automatic, syempre, labag siya sa data privacy, general data privacy principles, no? Specifically the proportionality, which is excessive na yung kinuha niya, personal information. So, anyway, it's just a joke. So, move tayo sa case problem number 1 tayo ngayon. Okay, so, pakibasa na lang po, no? So, in a small town, the local government unit recently digitized its record to manage resident data more efficiently. The system contains personal data such as names, addresses, and so on. The data was collected for issuing business permits, real property taxes, and providing financial assistance to residents. A City Hall employee in the Treasurer's office shared a spreadsheet containing residents' personal data with an unauthorized external consultant. Okay? So to help speed up the processing of real property taxes, the consultant was not officially engaged by the LGU. Okay, so ginawa niya is parang PIP siya, no? So siya lang yung lumapit mismo dun sa consultant. And no data sharing agreements was in place. The shared file included the personal data of all residents, including sensitive information such as financial assistance, beneficiaries details, and so on. Several residents found out that their personal data was shared without their consent. This breach came to light when a few individuals received unsolicited offers from a local business that had somehow obtained their contact information. Okay, so question. How did the LGU violate the GD, General Privacy Principles, which is yung transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality under the Data Privacy Act? Okay, so sa mga participants po natin, no, pwede pong mag-comment or mag-open ng mic. So, ano nga ba ang mga na-violate na LGU? Sige, una sa transparency, no? Baka meron pong gustong sumagot dyan. Taas lang po ng kamay. Okay, so baka nasusunod pa yung iba. So, ako na lang muna sasagot ng transparency. Okay, so sa transparency, ano nga ba yung nilabag ng LGU, no? So, the LGU did not inform the residents that their personal data would be shared with an external party. Okay, so kailangan pa ba talagang i-inform ang mga data subjects na mag-hire kami ng third party na magpaprocess ng personal data? Yes. Okay, so required siya. Kailangan alam ng data subjects na ipaprocess ng third party or ng other party yung personal data nila, which is na dapat ang LGU ang gagawa. No? So, transparency yun, transparency principle. Ang purpose ng data sharing, the purpose for sharing this data was not clearly communicated to the residents. Okay, so dapat naisama yan sa, ayan, so si Sir Ivan, no? Sige.
Sir, question lang. Ano lang, clarification in PD. Kasi di ba po, for example, yung di ba may generic na data privacy disclosure statement sa mga forms. So kung nakalagay na rin sa data privacy disclosure is a statement doon na ano, na agree sila na it will be used for ano nga, data sharing agreement or like used for external purposes. As generic as that, pwede na siya magamit.
Pwede siya, sir, oo. Sa totoo lang, pwede yun. Pwede siya.
Not necessarily na, hindi naman kailangan na very specific yung statement doon na saan siya gagamitin.
Oo, sir. Pwede naman yun. Basta ang importante is ma-communicate natin sa ating mga data subjects na, ayun nga, na ma-clearly na mabasa nila, kung hindi man natin i-communicate, is mabasa nila na gagamitin to for external party or other parties, no, na magpa-process ng personal data. Pwede rin talaga kasi yun lang yung nakalagay sa sa DPA eh. So pwede tayong gumawa ng notice na ganun kung saan general yung nakalagay, and then saka natin ipa-process yung personal data ni data subject without, kahit hindi nila alam, basta kumbaga nakalagay sa form or sa consent man. Ayun, so pwede yun, sir. Okay. So, ang importante is ma-communicate natin sa kanila, no? Ang mangyayari lang niyan is halimbawa, nagkaroon ng breach, like si third party pala natin is hindi pala siya trusted, no? And then kumbaga pinakalat lang yung personal information. So, yun, pwede tayong maging accountable since hindi natin in-specify yung ipaprocess na personal data. Kumbaga hindi in-specify kung sino yung magpa-process or kung sino yung specific third party na yun. Kaya, ayun. So, pero in general naman po, basta meron kayong naisama sa notice or sa consents na ayun, ipaprocess ng external party. So, pwede na rin naman. Okay, so any other questions po? Okay, so move tayo sa legitimate purpose, no? So sa legitimate purpose, yan. So ano nga ba yung nalabag ng LGU sa legitimate purpose na principle? Okay, so iyon is yung pag-share ng spreadsheet was not necessary for the intended purpose of collecting taxes. Okay, so it was done without considering whether the external consultant was authorized to handle such data. Okay, so dapat hindi niya binigay yung file niya na mayroong personal data. Okay, doon sa ating external party. So considered siya as paglabag sa legitimate purpose na ating principle. Okay, pangatlo is yung proportionality principle. So saan nga ba banda ang nalabag ang proportionality ng ating LGU? Okay, so sa proportionality is the data shared went beyond what was necessary. Instead of only tax-related information, yan. So the spreadsheet contained sensitive personal information. Yan, including sensitive personal information, no? So meron siya kasama ang sensitive personal information that was irrelevant to the purpose of the tax collection. Okay? So meron pa tayong isang pwede ma-identify dito, which is yung security measures. So the LGU failed to implement strict measures to ensure that only authorized personnel and entities had access to the personal data. Okay. So, any additional questions po about dito? Or move na po tayo sa ating next na section. Okay, hearing none po. Here are the general principles in collection, processing, and retention of personal data. Okay, so importante po to kasi ito yung magiging basehan natin sa pagpaprocess ng personal data na hinahawakan. Okay, so meron tayong 5, no? Yan, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so number 1 is the collection must be for a declared, specified, and legitimate purpose. Basically, dapat is sinusunod natin yung general data privacy principles. Yan, una is yung consent is required prior to the collection and processing of personal data. Kahit ano man yan, kahit anong personal data, basta may personal data na makakapag-identify ng isang individual, consent is required. Okay? So, consent given may be withdrawn. Yan. Isa rin to sa mga rights of the data subject na i-discuss natin mamaya. Consent can be withdrawn, no? So, halimbawa, pinaprocess nyo na, napirmahan nyo na yung consent. And then, na-realize nyo na, uy, ang dami namang piniging personal data. Ayoko na ibigay yung consent ko. So, anytime, pwede niyang makuha or i-withdraw yung consent niya. Okay, so, the data subject must be provided specific information, ayun na nga, purpose and extent of processing. Kung paano nga ba ipaprocess ang personal data niya. Okay, so, purpose should be determined and declared before or as soon as reasonably practicable. Basically, after collection or before collection, pwede natin ibigay yung consent or yung purpose kung paano nga ba ipaprocess ang personal data. Okay, only personal data is necessary and compatible with declared, specified, and legitimate purpose shall be collected. So basically, kailangan is hindi excessive. Okay, so sakto lang kung ano lang yung kailangan na personal data. So halimbawa, gagawa tayo ng mga form na hindi pa naman natin nagagawa, kailangan is yung kukunin nating personal data is sapat lang, adequate lang dun sa kailangan natin para sa pagpaprocess ng personal data. sa purpose. Number 2 is personal data shall be processed fairly and lawfully. So usually naman sa mga government agencies, lawful naman yung pag-process ng personal data natin. Ang kailangan lang natin is i-communicate sa ating mga nasasakupan or sa mga data subjects yung paraan kung paano natin ipaprocess ang personal data nila and kung ano yung mga rights nila as the data subject. No? So madami tayong rights as a data subject. Ayan. Okay, so processing must be in a manner of compatible with declared. So para kanina din. And processing shall be undertaken in a manner that ensures appropriate privacy and security safeguards. Okay? So next natin, pangatlo is yung processing should ensure data quality. Okay, so dapat lahat ng ipaprocess natin na personal data is accurate. Dapat hindi, kung ano yung binigay ni data subject, ganoon din yung ipaprocess natin. Hindi magmamali yung spelling, hindi magbabago yung yung date of birth, ganyan. Hindi magbabago yung ibang details na binigay nila. Kasi pwede nila yung maging grounds as practice. Halimbawa, ipapractice nila yung personal, yung rights nila as the data subject. So mamaya, i-discuss natin yan. So inaccurate or incomplete data must be rectified. Yan, yung tinatawag natin ng right to rectification, supplemented, destroyed, or their further processing restricted. So hindi tayo dapat nagpa-process ng mga data na kung saan napalitan na kung rectified or due date na or hindi na dapat pinaprocess. Number 4 is personal data shall not be retained longer than necessary. Okay, so retention of personal data shall only last for as long as necessary. Okay, so ito yung tatlo na pwede nating basihan. Una is for the fulfillment of declared purpose when the processing of relevant information or processing relevant to the purpose has been terminated. Okay, so halimbawa na-fulfill na yung consent, dapat hindi natin gamitin yung personal data nila. Consent is general. Hindi lang magagamit yung personal data na to sa specific or sa specific project na to, kundi sa mga similar projects pa na darating in the future. So pwede nyo rin gawin yan. Number 2 is for the establishment, exercise or defense of legal claims. Yan. So halimbawang meron ng legal claims. So hindi na siya pwedeng i-retain. Okay? Retain or i-retain longer than necessary. Number 3 is the legitimate business purposes which must be consistent with the standards followed by the applicable industry or approved by appropriate government agency. Okay? So nakapaloob dyan is yung retention of personal data shall be allowed in cases provided by law, which is halimbawa, mag-retain ka ng mga personal data na perpetual. So halimbawa, dito kasi sa RSU, isa sa mga perpetual na nire-retain namin, perpetual or forever na nire-retain is yung records ng students upon graduation, like mga TOR, mga diploma, yan. Kasi hindi, madaming students ang halimbawa, 10, 15 years, 20 years ng graduate, saka pa lang sila kukuha ng TOR. So, although sa batas natin is hindi pwedeng mag-store ng perpetual ng data, pwede naman tayong gumawa ng batas within our agencies na approve ng records. Okay? Ano tawag dito? So, national records. Okay? So, kailangan mo lang i-apply siya or kailangan mo lang i-apply na yung halimbawa, yung data na yon must be kept perpetually. Okay? So, personal data shall be disposed or discarded in a secure manner that would prevent further processing, unauthorized access, or disclosure. Kaya dapat, halimbawa, magko-collect tayo ng personal data, kailangan i-ensure natin na yung mga personal data na kinolect natin is nakalagay sa mga secured facilities. Halimbawa, mga file cabinets, mga folders na mayroong restrictions kung sino lang pwedeng pumasok, ganyan. Or nakalagay sa mga Google Drives or sa mga flash drives na may encryption or sa mga clouds na secure. Okay? Number 5 is any authorized further processing shall have adequate safeguards. Yan. So ito yung mga personal data na originally is kinolect para sa specific purpose ay gagamitin pa rin for further processing. Halimbawa, mga historical, statistical, mga thesis, mga scientific purposes, yan. So pwede nyo i-store yun. Basta nakalagay yun dapat sa sa notices or sa consents, no? Subject to implementation of appropriate security measures. Meron dapat mga organizational measures, mga physical kung paano poprotektahan, and technical security measures na ginagawa. Okay, para ma-safeguard yung personal data. So personal data which is aggregated or kept in a form which not permit identification of data subjects may be kept longer than necessary for the declared, specified, and so on. Meaning is, halimbawa, may personal data kang sinabmit, may personal data kayong hinahawakan which cannot identify a certain individual, pwede nyo gamitin yon. Or pwede nyo i-keep yun longer than necessary para magamit dun sa mga further processing, like yung mga binanggit ko nga kanina na mga historical, statistical, or scientific purposes. Basta yung data na yun is hindi makakapag-identify ng isang individual or hindi siya makakakos ng damage sa isang individual, no? So, ayun. Basta, siguro, isa sa mga dapat tanggalin kapag ganyan is yung name. Huwag nyo papakita yung name. Yung data niya lang, pwede. Halimbawa, graduate siya sa ganitong school, kung tagasan siya, ganyan, pero hindi yung specific na makakapag-identify ng personal data. Or ng sarili niya, hindi makakapag-identify ng sarili niya. Personal data shall not be retained in perpetuity in contemplation of a possible future use yet to be determined. Okay, so ibig sabihin, hindi kayo pwede mag-retain ng personal data na hindi na-define kung saan siya gagamitin in the future. Kaya yung sa amin, halimbawa, TOR, pwede namin, nire-retain namin siya since defined na yung paggagamitan niya in the future. No? Okay, so next is yung general principles for data sharing. Okay? So data sharing shall be allowed when it's expressly authorized by law, provided that there are adequate safeguards for data privacy and security. Okay? Data collected from parties other than the data subject for purpose of research shall be allowed when the personal data is publicly available. Okay, so pwede lang magamit yung mga personal data kapag publicly available. Pwede siya gamitin sa mga research. Ganyan. Or has the consent of the data subject for the purpose of research. So mahalaga na halimbawa may mag-research ganyan, kailangan ang consent nila or ang ilalagay sa purpose nila is for the purpose of research. Provided pa rin ng adequate safeguards para pag-protect sa personal data. And then also the rights of the data subject must be upheld or uphold during the research or during the usage of personal data without compromising the research integrity. Okay? So, data sharing between government agencies. For the purpose of a public function or provision of a public service shall be covered a data sharing agreement. So, yun. Sir, kailangan bang, halimbawa, mag-share kami ng personal data sa isang government agency or merong isang government agency na mag-share ng personal data sa amin. Kailangan pa ba namin ng data sharing agreement kahit pareho kami government agency? Yes. So nakalagay sa batas natin yan, no? Kailangan natin gumawa ng data sharing agreement. So sa amin, recently lang, merong pina-check sa akin na data sharing agreement between the Land Bank of the Philippines and the Romblon State University, which is kailangan ng personal data ng some employees from the Romblon State University, no? So si Land Bank, siya yung gumawa ng consent form ng data sharing agreement, which is nakalagay doon yung safeguards, kung paano po protektahan yung personal data, kung saan lang gagamitin yung personal data, and kung gaano lang katagal ipaprocess ang personal data. Okay, so any or all government agencies party of the agreement shall comply with the act these rules and all other issuances of the Commission, including putting in safe place adequate safeguards for data privacy and security. Okay, so data sharing agreement shall be subject to review of the Commission on its own initiative or upon complaint of the data subjects. Okay, so hindi nyo naman kailangan ipa-check yung i-submit sa NTC yung nagawa ng data sharing agreement between other agents, other government agency nyo. Basta i-make sure nyo lang na complete siya and relevant. Kasi once na halimbawang may mag-complain na data subjects na uy, yung personal data ko ginagamit ng ganitong ano. Pwede nang ang gagawin niya is pwede siyang or worst case scenario pwede siyang mag-report sa NTC na meron data ang specific agency nito na binigay ko lang sa agency ko pero ba't meron sila na hindi niya nalalaman. So yun. So ang mangyayari nun is kung sino man yung nag-share ng data, siya yung magiging accountable sa kung ano man yung complaint ng data subject. Okay, so finally, what is a data sharing agreement, no? Or DSA? It refers to contract, joint issuance, or any similar document which sets out the obligations, responsibilities, and liabilities of PICs, okay, involved in the transfer of personal data between or among two of them. Pwede kasi yan na pwede kasi na ang personal data mo is ikaw lang ang mag-share sa kanya or pwedeng two-way. May personal data ka na ibibigay sa kanya, meron ding personal data sa agency na to na ibibigay sa inyo. So, anyway, in any way, kailangan meron ka pa din data sharing agreement, no? Ano yung mga nakapaloob dito? It includes the implementation of adequate safeguards for data privacy and security and upholding the rights of the data subjects. So, provided that only PIC should be made parties of a data sharing agreement. So, importante dito na pagkagawa kayo ng data sharing agreement, ang signatory nito is dalawa, head of the agency and the data protection officer. Ganun din sa pipirmahan to ng separate agency nyo na pinagawa ng DSA. So, ang head nila and the DPO din, yung magsasign ng data sharing agreement. Okay. Sir, question. Meron ba, same lang po ba ito sa Memorandum of Agreement? Hindi po. Ang data sharing agreement is ginagawa lang pag merong personal data na involved sa isang transaction between two agencies. So kapag wala namang personal data, hindi nyo na kailangan gumawa ng data sharing agreements. Okay? So sige, case problem number 2 tayo. So basahin ko muna. Both of DOH and DOF have a shared employee database that contains sensitive personal information. To streamline processes, the two departments decided to directly share this data with each other without formalizing a data sharing agreement. Due to a security breach within the DOF system, unauthorized individuals gain access to the shared employee database. The leaked data included the sensitive personal information of both DOH and DOF employees. Question number 1. So what are the key issues of this setup? No? So ano nga ba ang key issues dito? Okay. Isa sa mga key issues dito is yung lack of data sharing agreement. Siyempre, kakaano lang natin. So the absence of data sharing agreement which outlines the terms and conditions of data sharing. Yan, hindi na banggit doon. So, sino ang magiging diyan? Sino ang magiging may kasalanan, no? So, pareho sila since sila yung both na nag-decide na mag-share ng isang database. Okay, isa pa sa mga key issues dito is yung insufficient data security. Bakit nga ba? So, both departments may have failed to implement the adequate security measures to protect the shared data such as encryption, access control, and regular security audits. So, hindi nila define kung yung system ba na ginagamit or sinishare nilang pareho is secured, no? So, yun. Kaya, required na, halimbawa may system ka na sinishare, halimbawa may personal information ka na sinishare sa ibang agency, especially kapag mga online yan. And then yung ipaprocess doon is personal data ng isang individual or ng mga mamamayan, kailangan nyo ng data sharing agreements. Kahit kumbaga kahit practice niyo na dati na nag-i-input lang kayo ng personal data sa database ng isang ng different agency, dapat meron talaga kayo data sharing agreement na ginagamit. So, hindi lang ito yung makakapag-protect sa data subject, kundi makakapag-protect din ito sa inyo as a company liable sa pag-process ng personal data or as an agency. Okay, next is yung isa pang issue dito is yung lack of accountability. Yan. So, without a clear agreement, sino ngayon na may responsible sa breach? No, since kahit system na DOF yung na-compromise, pumayag din naman kasi si DOH na gumamit ng system na yon. So, pareho pa rin silang may kasalanan. Okay, so what are the consequences that can arise? No? Unang consequence dito is identity theft. Kasi nga, nanakaw yung yung database na hack. So, pwede gawin ni hacker isikalat yung database online na naglalaman ng sensitive personal information. No? So, identity theft, pwede magamit yan sa pagkuha ng mga loan sa bangko, pang sa scam sa mga tao. Yan. Okay, so financial loss. Employees may suffer financial loss din dahil dito. Pwede ring emotional distress since hindi na lang sila yung hindi na lang ang data subject ang nakakaalam ng mga sensitive information nila, pati yung taong bayan, alam na rin yung nila, yung emotional, yung nila, pinagdadaanan nila. Halimbawa, kasi sensitive, diba? Kabilang doon yung mga health, ganyan. So, sobrang sensitive ng mga ganun. Ayun. So, pwede nilang isipin yan, magkakaroon sila ng emotional distress, legal liabilities, and damage to reputations. So, madami ito, no? Kung hindi po natin alam, ang penalties ng DTA once na lumabag ka or once na proven na lumabag ka is average niya is 500,000 pesos. Ayun. So, kailangan dapat seryosohin natin ang DPA or yan. Okay, so pasok tayo ngayon sa rights of the data subject. So, meron tayong 8 rights, no? 8 rights para sa ating mga data subject. Yan. So, ito yung 4. First 4 is informed, the right to be informed, the right to object, right to access, right to rectification, and right to erasure or blocking, to damages, to data portability, and to file a complaint. Okay, una is yung right to be informed. Ayan, sabi ko kanina, kailangan talagang i-inform yung data subjects. Kung hindi man through physical, kung hindi man nababasa, pwede nyo i-inform sila. Uy, i-inform ko kayo. Basta gano'n. Para alam nila na i-process yung personal data nila. Okay? So next, okay, so ano nga ba yung laman ng information na dapat ini-inform ang data subjects natin, no? So kabilang dyan yung description of personal data, which is where the personal data will be in the system, input into the system, no? So meron naman hindi mga systems, kung mga manual lang, nakalagay na doon kung para saan, kung anong title ng form. Pero meron kasing mga system na kung saan ito yung ginagamit sa pag-process ng personal data. Okay? Purpose of which they are being or will be processed. Okay? Basis of processing, kabilang din yan sa kailangan sinasabi natin. The scope and method of personal data processing, recipients of classes of recipients to whom the data may be disclosed. Yan yung sabi ko na pwede siyang ma-disclose sa other agencies or sa third party, pero may kumbaga secured din or trusted din yung third party na yun. Okay, so methods utilized for automated access. Yan. If the same is allowed by the data subject, the extent to which such access is authorized. Okay, so the identity and contact details of the personal data controller or personal information controller or personal information processor. Kaya, halimbawa, magkakaroon kayo ng data processing officer, yan. Lagi niyo pong ilalagay ang contact email halimbawa or phone number ng DTO sa mga forms nyo. Para in case na may tanong si Tita Subject is mabilis niyang ma-approach yung DTO. The period for which the information will be stored and the existence of the rights of the data subject or yung rights niya, kung paano nga ba yung magiging rights niya sa pag-process ng personal data. So, ayun. Basically, ito yung mga ilalagay niyo sa consent form. Yan. Kung gagawa po kayo ng consent form, yan, dapat nakapaloob yan. Okay, so right to object. Okay, so right to object meaning the data subject can object the processing of their personal data if it is based on legitimate interests or the performance of a task in the public interest exercise of official authority. So they can also object the processing for direct marketing purposes, including profiling related to direct marketing. Yan. Kaya hindi ako nag-check ng mga halimbawa magsa-sign up ako sa isang website, hindi ko i-check yung yung mga pwede bang mag-send ng mga updates and mga ads. Yun. So kasi nga may ganun kasi may rights tayo as rights ng isang data subject. Okay? So halimbawa, sir, paano kung kailangan naming i-process yung personal data ng ng isang individual pero ayaw niyang pirmahan yung consent form. So kapag ayaw niya, ibig sabihin, wala kayong right na ganun lang kasimple. So hindi niyo pwedeng i-process yung personal information niya pag hindi niya finalapan yung consent. Ganun lang. So halimbawa, kung gaano pa man ka-importante yung gagawin niyo, basta walang consent is wag niyo i-process yung personal data niya kung ayaw niya i-process. Siya naman yung kumbaga pwede mag-suffer doon kasi nga hindi niya ina-allow na i-process yung personal data niya kasi nga wala siyang tiwala. So yun. So kailangan nyo lang talaga i-inform sila or ilagay sa consent kung ano yung legitimate purpose ng inyong processing, okay, ng inyong collection. Okay, number 4 rather is the right to access, no. So si data subject has the right to access their personal data being processed by an organization. Okay, this includes the following, no. So kasama yan lahat ng in-input niya sa personal data. Contents, the sources from which the data were obtained, the names and addresses of recipients of the personal data, manner by which such data were processed, reasons for the disclosure, information on automated processes. So halimbawa may magtanong sa inyo, sir, saan niyo ba gagamitin ito? Bakit kinukuha niyo pa yung sakit ko dati? Kung ano yung mga health issues ko dati. Ay, ganito po kasi yan, ma'am. So kailangan yung i-inform si data subject kasi may right to access siya. Okay, so kasama na dyan ang mga dates and personal data concerning data subject that were accessed and modified. Pero usually naman, madalang naman yung ganito na may nagtatanong, no? After mong i-process yung personal data, sir, anong gagawin nyo dyan ngayon? Usually, hindi naman. Pero in case, kailangan ready din kayo na sagutin niyo yung mga tanong niya since may right to access siya. Okay, so right to rectification. So the data subjects have the right to correct any inaccuracies in their personal data or complete any incomplete data held by the data controller. So halimbawa, mag-fill up sila ng isang form and then 10 days later na-realize niya na mali pala yung spelling ng apelyido na na-input niya. So alam naman natin na may right si data subject to rectify that one. So pwede siyang di man mag-complain. Pwede siyang tanong or mag-inquire to rectify. And bawal yung bawal yung tanggihan yun since may right to rectification siya, no. Nakasaad dyan sa batas ng RA 10173. Okay, so halimbawa, paano kung informed pala yung data subject sa mga rights niya, no? Hindi mo pinayagan ngayon and then nag-report siya sa NPC. So sino yung i-check kayo ng NPC? Di yung agency nyo na hindi pinaprocess or hindi siya binigyan ng pagkakataon para ayusin yung form niya. Okay? So, right to erasure or blocking. Next is, right to erasure or blocking, also known as the right to be forgotten, no? This right allows data subject to request the deletion or blocking of their personal data from the data controller system. Okay, so may right din siyang ganyan na hindi natin gamitin, parang parang i-rectify din. Pero ito, ano na, erase na talaga yung data. So once na mag-request siya ng ganyan, yan. Pwede niyong, pwede niyo nang i-delete sa system yung ano niya, yung data niya. So, sir, paano nga ba yung magiging process ng mga to kung mag-request sila ng isa sa mga rate dito, no? Ang gawin niyo po is gumawa kayo ng form na kung saan form that form that allows the rights of the data subjects. Ayun, basta. Kasi meron din kaming form na ganun dito sa ano. Pero usually, madalang naman siya. Hindi naman siya nagagamit. Pero in case lang, at least meron kayong form na kung saan gustong i-exercise ni data subject yung kanyang right. Yan. Dapat, ready kayo. Hindi ba verbal lang. Dapat meron din pirma niya na I agree and I will use my right to erasure and so on and so forth. Right to damages, no? So halimbawang si data subject is nasiraan or naapektuhan sa data breaches, halimbawa ganyan, or sa pagkalat ng mga personal information niya, social media, or so on. Yan. So data subject are entitled to claim compensation for any damages they have suffered due to inaccurate, incomplete, outdated, false, unlawfully obtained, or unauthorized use of their personal data. Okay? Next is yung right to data portability. So, ang data subjects natin, they have the right to obtain and reuse their personal data across different services. So, halimbawang humingi sila ng copy ng personal data nila, which is nasa loob ng system nyo, dapat ibigay nyo sa kanila yun. So, they can request to receive their personal data in a structured, commonly used, and machine-readable format. Ayun. The exercise of this right primarily takes into action the right of the data subject to have control over her personal data being processed based on consent or contract for commercial purposes or through automated means. Okay? Right to file a complaint. So si data subject is may right na mag-file na complaint sa National Privacy Commission if they feel, if they feel lang, kung naramdaman lang nila na ang privacy rights nila is nalabag. Okay, if they feel that their personal data has been misused, and their rights under the Data Privacy Act have been violated. So pwede sila mag-report directly sa NPC. Okay, so these rights are intended to ensure that individuals maintain control over their personal data. Kaya nga ang pinaka-importante talaga sa atin, like sa ating mga agencies na nagpaparas ng personal data is consent. Kasi once na mag-complaint yan sa NPC and then tayo as PIC or as PIP, walang maipakitang consent sa NPC, tayo yung mananagot. Kasi ba't tayo nagpaparas ng personal data kung wala namang consent ni data subject. Although, syempre hindi naman directly yun kasi meron pa tayong tinatawag na meron pa tayong cases na kung saan hindi na kailangan humingi ng consent kasi nga legal or legal purpose naman yung ginagawa natin. Pero hahaba yung usapan eh. So ang gagawin na lang natin is may consent tayo dapat. Mapa Google Forms man yan, mapa physical forms, or mapa automated processing, no? Ayun. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa rights sa data subject, no? So, time check is 10:45. Sige, try na lang natin kung hanggang saan tayo aabot. Security measures, okay? Data privacy and security, okay? So, personal information controllers or PICs must implement appropriate security measures to protect personal data, no? So, ano nga ba yung mga security measures na yon? Ito yung mga organizational, physical, and technical safeguards. Okay? So, only authorized personnel should have access personal data. This individual should follow the instructions of the data controller or processor and only access data when legally required. Okay, so dapat yung mga security measures na yon pina-follow tong tatlong to. So ano nga ba yun? Availability, where data should be accessed when needed. Supporting operational needs. Okay? Integrity, where the data should be accurate and protected from unauthorized changes. And confidentiality. Data access should be restricted to prevent unauthorized disclosures. Okay? So protection aims to prevent, una is accidental or unlawful destruction, alteration or disclosure of data. And pangalawa is unlawful processing of any unauthorized use. Yan. So, kailangan meron tayong mga safety measures or security measures na naka-ready once na mag-process or mag-collect tayo ng personal data. Okay? So, kasama na din dyan dapat sa security measures yung natural risks, no? And human risks. Sa natural risks, nandyan yung accidental loss or destruction. Halimbawa, masunog yung yung isang lugar, yan. Okay? And isang lugar or isang building na pinagtataguan ng personal data, and human risks. Yan, unauthorized access, fraudulent. Kailangan lahat yan is ma-address natin, no? Lahat ng yan. Okay, so una tayo. Organizational security measures. Compliance officers, una. So, sino yung mga compliance officers? Ito yung pag-appoint ng data protection officer or compliance officer to oversee data privacy compliance. Okay? So, nakalagay din yan sa NPC Advisory Number 2017-01. Or appointment of data protection officer. Alam ko recently lang, meron na pong ni-require na ni NPC na lahat ng local government units natin is magkaroon ng DPO. Hindi ko lang po alam, parang 1 month ago po ata yun. Pero yan, isa na sa mga requirement is magkaroon ng DPO. Actually, lahat naman ng agency dapat may data protection officer. Yun nga lang, hindi siya masyadong natututukan since parang hindi siya masyadong na-highlight ng government. Pangalawa, sa ating organizational security measures is yung data protection policies. So, it is essential to develop policies that cover organizational, physical, and technical securities. So, ano nga ba ang objective dito? It is to apply data protection principles from planning to processing, implement default security, collect and process only personal data. Okay, so mga policies to, no? Halimbawa, sa amin, meron kami dito student privacy policy for students, privacy policy for employees, and privacy policy for visitors, mga ganon, and so on. So, different policies. So, makikita nyo naman po yan once na mag-research kayo about sa DPA. Specifically, ang magandang reference dito is yung toolkit, NPC toolkit. Yan, pa-take note na lang po, NPC toolkit. Yan, pwede nyo pong gawing reference yun kung nagsisimula pa lang po kayo ng organizational security measures or data privacy act compliance. Next is yung records of processing activities. Ito po, kailangan nyo po ito kapag mag-register kayo para makuha ang privacy seal from NPC. Dapat meron kayong records of processing activities, mapamanual man yan or automated. So this covers the purpose of the processing of personal data, categories of data subjects, data flow in the organization, security measures in place, and contact details of controller, and so on. So online form po yun na pag mag-register kayo, i-fill upan nyo siya, which is kasama tong lahat ng to. Kung sino yung DPO nyo, or sino yung mga naging compliance officers, and so on. Okay? Next is yung human resource management. No? Organizations should carefully select, supervise, and train employees handling personal data. Meaning, kailangan is train din natin ang ating mga employees about sa data privacy. Yan, sabi nga kanina is conduct regular privacy training and security training programs. Okay? Next is data processing procedures. Yan. So organizations must implement and review procedures for yan. So dapat yearly yan, chine-check kung meron kailangan namang i-update and kung meron bang dapat idagdag or kung meron bang nalalabag na batas. Okay, next is contracts with processors. Yan. So personal information controllers must ensure their processors implement security measures. Yan. So sa amin dito, ang processors namin is syempre mga offices no nagpa-process ng personal data. Pero as employees, I think ni-require namin na lahat ng employees is mag-sign ng consent form which is nakapaloob dito na yung personal data na mapaprocess nila is magsa-stay lang within sa RSU or yung personal data nila mismo is protected and will only be processed within the RSU. Ayun, so kaya na-require po namin no, na lahat ng employees is mag-fill up ng consent form. So hindi lang po para sa kanila, kundi para din sa agency yon. So meron din po tayong tinatawag na non-disclosure agreements. Pwede rin po nating pa-fill upan yon sa mga specific persons within the agency na nagpa-process ng personal data. So para saan nga ba yung non-disclosure agreements? Para yun sa halimbawang mag-process sila ng mga sensitive informations or sensitive personal informations, it will stay in RSU kahit habang nag-work sila or umalis. It will stay in the agency kahit habang nag-work sila, umalis sila sa labas ng RSU or matapos yung contract nila within the RSU. So, ayun. Protected pa rin yun ng non-disclosure agreements per individual. Okay, letter B is yung physical security measures. Una is yung access control. Yan. So sa access control, meron tayong ililimit dapat yung areas na pwedeng mag-enter sa processing tao na pwedeng mag-enter sa processing areas. Yan. Meron din dapat electronic media guideline if meron tayong mga automated na mga systems. Next is yung office space design. Yan. So halimbawa, pagpasok ko sa office nyo, data subject ako, kita ko agad yung type nung isang employee. So hindi dapat ganoon. Kailangan lahat ng laptop, desktop, naka-face away sa ating mga entrances, which is hindi makikita ng data subjects natin. So kung halimbawa man na merong wall tayo na glass lang, yan, dapat hindi nakikita, nasi-see-through yung mga data na ini-input natin sa ating mga systems. Ayun. So dito sa RSU, yan, especially sa mga lugar na kung saan pupunta ang mga students usually sa registrar, sa admission, yan, pinaayos na namin yung mga, mga desktops and mga laptops na naka-face away. Kumbaga hindi agad-agad makikita ng data subject na pumasok sa kanilang workspace. Yung mga forms, dapat yan, nakatago and walang pakalat-kalat ng mga forms. So, kasama yan sa office space design. Okay. Next is define roles and schedules. Okay. So, basically, kasama dapat dyan ang mga roles and responsibilities and kung kailan lang papasok ang isang personnel sa isang area na kung saan mayroong personal data. Okay, so physical security measures. Tapos na lang natin yung hanggang letter C nito, no? And then, okay. So, physical security measures. Electronic media management. Yan. So, meron din dapat tayong policies for the transfer, removal, and disposing, and reusing of electronic media. So, ano ang goal natin dyan? So, dapat mas-safeguard natin yung personal data during media handling and disposal. Okay, next is yung prevention of physical damage. Okay, so establish procedures to avoid physical damage to files and equipments. Yan. As much as possible, secure areas used for processing personal data to prevent unauthorized access. So dito, isa sa practices namin is maglagay ng unauthorized access sa mga areas sa loob ng isang room kung saan mayroong personal data. Para makita to ng data subject, uy, yung nakalagay na unauthorized access for authorized personnel only. Ayun. So, hindi na siya papasok since alam niya nga na may warning na doon na bawal sila. Okay, so technical security measures. Una is yung security policy. Kailangan natin mag-develop ng isang comprehensive security policy that will guide how personal data should be processed securely. So ano nga ba ang importansya niyan? A well-defined policy helps standardize procedures and reinforce an organization-wide commitment to data security. Okay? So network safeguards, dapat meron tayong mga tinatawag ng mga firewalls, ng mga antivirus, yan. So this prevents unauthorized users from accessing the system. Okay? It also protects the network from disruptions that could compromise data integrity and availability. Okay? So system resilience. It ensures that the systems are confidential, integral, and available. Okay? And security monitoring. So dapat meron tayong routine checkups, no? So continuously monitors networks for security breaches and identify vulnerabilities. Okay, so next is yung data restoration. So in case na meron tayong mga technical issues, dapat halimbawa ma-corrupt ang isang storage or database natin na mayroong personal data, dapat meron tayong way para i-restore yun. Since tayo yung magiging liable doon eh. Halimbawa, importante pala yung personal data na doon and then hinanapin yung data subject. So hindi lang tayo magiging reliable sa kanila, kundi pati sa NPC since nawala natin yung data nila or destroy natin yung data nila. Okay, next is yung regular testing or conducting routine testing, assessments and evaluation of security or yung tinatawag natin na halimbawa vulnerability assessments, yan. Penetration testing. Halimbawa, ako, si TPO, magsisend ako ng email with malicious content sa lahat ng employee ng RSU. Tingnan natin kung ilan yung magkiklik sa link, ganyan. Ilan yung mag-reply sa email, ganyan. Yan. So, parang isa yun sa mga pwedeng gawing vulnerability assessment sa isang agency. Okay, so next is data encryption. Yan, kailangan is encrypted ang ating data both in storage and during transit, no? So that meron tayong mga authentication processes and access controls. Pero hindi naman siya, kung hindi naman kaya ng isang agency na i-encrypt yung data during transmission, kailangan lang talaga i-safeguard nila yung data, i-safeguard nila yung data na nakuha nila. Dapat secured yung storage nila, ganyan. And so on. Okay, so time check is 10:49. Makikisuyo na lang po sa lahat na baka po hindi nyo pa nakita yung page namin. Yan, RSU Data Protection Office. Pa-like na lang po to follow for privacy security updates and other data privacy matters. Okay? So, yun lamang po. And thank you very much. Pa-picture na lang po ng evaluation link, no? Kasi 10:50 na rin po eh. Yan. Pascan na lang po and pa-picture po sa mga nag-attend po. And pabigay na lang po kung halimbawa mayroong hihingi. Sa mga privacy officers po ng RSU, send ko po yung link nito sa GC na lang po natin. And yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
And thank you so much po, Engineer Moscoso, for that very informative presentation. So, at this point po, tinatawagan po natin isa po sa aking mga kasamahan from Internal Audit Services Unit, to recap the key points discussed. Ayan. So hopefully sa ating mga participants from LGU and from Romblon State University po, may mga nakuha po tayo today about Data Privacy Act. So ayan, tinatawagan ko ulit ang aking kasama dito sa Internal Audit Services Unit, si Mutiat, to have our short recap.
Yan. So we began with an engaging activity using the Menti app to gauge participants' current knowledge about data privacy. This was followed by a brief discussion on the meaning of privacy and what it entails. Next, a history of data protection laws and an overview of the key sections of the data privacy were presented. The discussion included Republic Act 10173 of the DPA of 2012, with the speaker highlighting scenarios where the act does not apply to clarify its boundaries for better understanding. Essential terms related to data privacy were also defined to ensure clarity and reinforce participants' understanding, including concepts such as data processing, data sharing, personal information, and others such as sensitive personal information. Following this, we discussed the general data principles and also the rights of data subjects, and also the last one is the security measures. These were complemented by sample case problems, examples, and definitions were analyzed and were discussed to apply data privacy principles practically. Yan, concluding the session, understanding data privacy is crucial. It is for ensuring compliance with legal standards and protecting individuals' personal information. By exploring its historical context, key principles, and practical applications of Data Privacy Act, we have gained valuable insight into safeguarding data and making informed decisions in our roles. Yan, thank you very much po.
So ayan, point, kung meron po ba kayong any questions or clarifications from our topic this morning? Meron po ba? If you have any question po, feel free to unmute your mics, or wala na po. So since wala na pong questions, we will now proceed to the awarding of certificate. Yes po, may naka-on po. Okay. Okay. So since there are no more further questions, we will now proceed to the next part of our webinar, the awarding of certificate. So wala po muna nga alis sa ating mga participants dahil magkakaroon tayo ng attendance and feedback form mamaya after the award. So a special thank you to our esteemed resource speaker, Engineer Samson F. Moscoso Jr., for sharing his expertise on the Data Privacy Act compliance and best practices. Your insights on data protection and compliance have been incredibly valuable and will certainly enhance our understanding of best practices moving forward. At this point, we would like to recognize the contributions of our speaker. On behalf of the Internal Audit Services Unit of LGU Ojongan, we would like to present a certificate of recognition to Engineer Samson F. Moscoso Jr. for sharing his knowledge and expertise with us today. Thank you so much, Engineer Moscoso.
Thank you po, sir.
Ayan, so before we conclude po our webinar, let's capture this moment with a group photo. May I request everyone to turn on their cameras for a quick photo opportunity. Ayan po. On cam po tayong lahat. Ayan. One, two, three. Other next page po. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Other page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so thank you so much everyone. So lastly, before po tayo mag-end, please take a few minutes to answer the feedback form. Ayan po, na nakapresent po sa ating attendance. So ito po yung from Romblon State University. So pwede nyo pong picturean na lang po muna para po makuha nyo agad yung QR. Mamaya, pwedeng after this, sagutan nyo po. Kasi may kasunod pa po tayong feedback form. Okay na? Okay na? Na-picture na lahat? Okay, next po natin is yung feedback form from LGU Ojongan po. Pwede nyo rin pong picturean from IASO po, from Internal Audit Services. Pwede nyo picturean or pwede nyo pong sagutin na. Ayan, okay na po ba? Okay, so we will send din sa comment section, sa comment box, yung link nung ating mga feedback form. And siguro po yung from RSU din, sir, isend natin sa ating comment box, yung feedback form from DP po, DPO.
Hindi po ata pwedeng mag-attach yun sa message.
Ay, sige po.
I-send ko na lang po sa inyo.
Sige po. So, okay na po. Napicturean na po lahat. Raise your hand. Ay, ano po? Napicturean na ba lahat? And ating... okay na. Sige po. Yan po. Dalawa po ang ating feedback form. One from DPO ng RSU and one from IASU ng LGU Ojongan. Okay, so thank you to everyone who joined us today for this insightful webinar on the Data Privacy Act, compliance and best practices. We hope the information shared will be valuable in enhancing your understanding of data protection and compliance that will contribute to the success of your efforts in implementing best practices within your respective offices. With that, we officially close our webinar. Thank you once again for your active participation and we look forward to your involvement in our future event. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nag-attend ng ating webinar and good morning po and have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Thank you po, Sir Michael.